And welcome back, everybody, to another exciting edition of the TV show podcast. My name is Jay Black, joined as always by the lovely Rhea Hughes, the behatted Angelo Cataldi, and
Right.
I'm bringing her on early, a new addition to the podcast. This is Daisy. You
Oh,
you can't see her. It's a new puppy. It's a golden doodle puppy, ladies and gentlemen, that my wife
oh,
got while I was away, which is the best time to get a dog because I can't say no.
oh.
And if you want to see her, you go to our YouTube channel, TV show podcast YouTube channel, and you can check out Daisy. She's got a lot of thoughts on this week's Severance that's coming out. So we'll be hearing from her later.
He's
But
awesome.
All right. Jay,
before we
one
get
thing.
started, yeah, let's. Angela has something to
Let
say.
me, I just want to say I apologize for what happened at last week's podcast. I'm having some serious problems with Wi-Fi. I have been contacting cable companies, and you know how great that goes.
Oh yeah.
I am in the process, but at any point you may see me depart. And if so, I'm sorry. I have a great thing I want to do this week with Rhea because Rhea and I watched the same show and she couldn't get through it for a very interesting reason. I can't wait for you to explain all this, Rhea, but we'll get to that a little while. I just want to say I apologize. I'm doing what I can, but mostly I've been on hold the last week.
That is the like honestly, for 30 years, 40 years, cable has the worst customer service.
Yes.
And they just have this attitude of what else are you going to do? Where are you
Yeah.
going to go? And
Yep.
there was a brief time when satellite TV existed where like you could maybe have a competitor there. But I think they know that even if you don't want cable, you need them for internet. There's only so many places you can go for internet. So what are you going to do?
You're in.
You're
You're
just
right.
going to take it, is what you're going to do.
That's the
Uh,
problem.
Now we had a full rundown, and I'm going to hand over the show here to Rhea to give us a recap of this because
Oh, okay.
yeah, because you sent this to us, Rhea.
Yeah.
This is I had a thing in there about the NFL. We're going to talk about how they did on round one with the broadcast. Some did well, some Chris Collinsworth is the most consistently bad
Oh,
announcer in all
Yes.
sports. I mean, the guy should win an award for that. We'll get to that in just a moment. But Rhea brought up something about a broadcaster on the Fox network that has an amazing conflict of interest going on. And Rhea, if you could just walk us through this, I'd appreciate it.
So basically, Tom Brady in his first year of, I believe, like a $350 million contract,
Just ridiculous.
which is just insane. Like, thank God I didn't have to listen to him last week because I was at the game. Because I believe he did the Eagles game. Ange, did he do
Yes.
the Eagles game?
he
Yeah. Okay.
kind of.
I didn't have to listen to him. But
Kinda is a good way to put it. Yeah.
he's got a massive conflict because he is also a minority owner with the Oakland, not Oakland, the Las Vegas Raiders now. And what Ian Rappaport, so it was Richard Deitch in The Athletic. Richard Deitch is their sports media columnist. He's really good. I enjoy reading him every week because not a lot of people do that anymore. But like he had a note down towards the end of his thing where he said, Ian Rappaport, who's a very well-respected reporter for the NFL Network, put out that basically they had fired their coach, and then shortly after the Raiders fired their actually well thought of GM, Telesco, I think his name is, who actually they haven't had like a number one pick, I think, in a while. He drafted Bowers, who's one of the best tight ends in all of the NFL. But Brady wants to have, it was basically Brady wants to have a coach and a GM who are connected, I guess, coming together. And Brady is going to be doing a Lions game. And obviously, the hot name for everybody out there is Lions offense coordinator and their defense coordinator, by the way, but probably the offense coordinator. Why am I blanking on it? Ben Johnson.
Right.
Well, Brady's going to be doing a game. And whenever you hear him lavishing praise on Ben Johnson, who, by the way, is very good. So this is kind of a disservice to Ben Johnson. Everybody at home who knows that Brady's got this conflict of interest going, well, you're just pumping him up because you want to hire him.
Right.
It's an insane conflict of interest. He's not allowed. Brady is not allowed to go onto teams' property of games he's doing. He's not allowed in there because he's a member of another team, and they still allow him to do games. It's absolute insanity.
It's ridiculous. Angelo, this is nuts, right? This is absolutely
It's
nuts.
more than nuts. This is the irony of the whole situation to me. Brady has this conflict of interest. The fact is, if he were great, right? Like if he was so good, Romo year one, right? Where everybody was crowed about how great. Then you go, well, I'm going to look past it. He stinks to high heaven. Do you understand? He did the Eagles game, and it was outrageously awful. All right? I turned it off and went to the WIP broadcast for a simple reason. First play of the game, Jay. There's two egregious ref mistakes in the first play, and it set the tone for the whole game. The guy waffled this kick returner. What's his name? I'm blanking myself right now. Rhea. Nixon. He waffles Nixon with a helmet-to-helmet smash. The crown of his helmet into the face mask of the ball carrier. And then they show an overhead. They got a really unique view of the play, and it's clear that Nixon recovered his own fumble. It's clear. It couldn't be. They come back and say the call on the field stands. It's a fumble. B, no acknowledgement in the whole game of helmet to helmet. I go online. Social media is overflowing with people going, who cares about the fumble recovery? It's a personal foul, 15 yards, and the ball goes to the Packers. He is awful. Do you understand? He can't.
You mean the Eagles, the one that went to the Eagles? Are you talking about the opening kick? The ball went to the Eagles. The Eagles,
Eagles got the ball, but the Eagles
in the stadium.
The ball.
We were shocked they got the call. Shocked.
Shocked. The helmet to helmet was so they caught. Brady missed all of it.
All of it.
Understand, Jay? He missed. It's like he couldn't see. And the analyst who couldn't see the rest of the game. This was an interesting game with lots of by play. What's going on with Hurts? Why is he playing better? Love keeps throwing the ball to the Eagles.
Mm-hmm.
No insight. Nothing.
Wow.
Jay, nothing. He gave you nothing. He stinks. Brady, let me make a prediction right now. Brady will leave at the end of this season. He'll walk away from $350 million. And it'll be because he says he wants to focus more on the Raiders. Right? And the real reason is everybody wants him gone. He's terrible.
Yeah.
Angelo, I will make a prediction. He will not walk away from $350 million. He will negotiate a buyout. There's no way Jay, is there any way he's walking away for $350 million?
He negotiates a buyout. He's got the best lawyers and agents in the business. He probably walks away with $80 million.
$80 million.
Yeah, and Fox is happy to pay it to get rid of him.
All right, hold on.
I have a theory.
Wait. So he got $35 million this year.
Yeah.
And then he gets like an $80 million settlement. Yeah. So this year, this one season in the broadcast booth, Tom Brady will make roughly $110 million. He stinks. He's so bad. He is so freaking bad.
So I have so many things to say about this. The first thing is, I don't think if you are an all-time superstar great, you are ever going to have amazing insight or a big personality. If you think about it, Michael Jordan never went into the booth for good reason. I don't think he'd have anything interesting to say. Maybe he would because he was such a trash talker. But Charles Barkley, one of the all-time greats, I think the reason is if you're a guy that is so monomaniacally focused on being great at a sport, you don't have time to develop a personality. You just don't. It's funny
you say that. Troy Aikman is, I think, one of the best analysts out there. By the way, they had a backup on site for him on Monday. He had a really bad cold. They thought they were going to have to pull him halfway through. Little inside stuff with him. If you heard his voice was bad. But he's not a big personality. But I think he's really good. He's honest. He'll tell you if a guy stinks but he doesn't have that overwhelming, gregarious personality.
I do want to say, and Angelo, I want your opinion on this. I think that Joe Buck and Troy Aikman, for as much as they got hate through the 2010s. They're the best going right now.
Yeah.
I don't. Who's
I think
better
so.
than those two?
No, they do, because they don't intrude on your enjoyment of the
They
game.
don't. They
That's
don't.
key. All right. Collinsworth intrudes.
100.
Brady, I mean, you're just incredulous that this brilliant player stinks so bad at this job. And Romo, frankly, is not what he was the first year.
No.
So they're definitely the best. But I want to tell you the guy that would be better than any of them, because he's on CBS and he's doing lesser games. He did a lot of them this year with the voice of the Phillies, Tom McCarthy. Ross Tucker is fantastic. Listen to a game he does. He gives you when they made the mistake. He shows you where they made the mistake. He shows you the great plays and the bad plays. And he is funny and interesting. And if they just listen, Ross Tucker will soon be in the top 3 at CBS, if not the top guy. He's that good. Listen, the kid went to Yale or Princeton.
No, he went to Princeton.
He's
and
brilliant.
Ange, you mentioned one thing really quick. Tom McCarthy might be better at football than he is at baseball.
Yeah,
I think Tom, he also does college basketball, which I love him on.
Yeah.
Tom McCarthy is terrific, but you're right. I think Ross is one of the top 3 analysts out there.
Maybe they'll hire him.
Home field advantage, we work with Ross, but I'm not saying it for that reason. You listen to him, he will give you the game in a way that will enhance your enjoyment, which none of these other guys do, not even Aikman.
So maybe they'll hire him away once they get rid of Brady at the end of this season. 115 million. Okay, so Severance season 2 is coming out on Friday. It's getting rave reviews, and I'm going to talk about Severance season 1 because I rewatched it in preparation for season 2. I'll talk about that at the end of the show. I'm just shocked by this. Because I was like, Severance, that hasn't been on the air in a while. How long has it been? The last episode aired in April of 2022. I was so much skinnier when the last episode aired. I have fatted up so much in the interim. It's been 2 years and 8 months since the last episode of this show. It only had 9 episodes. We come from a time, guys, when they did 22 episodes, done in May, started again in September. If it ended on a cliffhanger, who shot JR? You talked about it all summer. Then you found out in September, and it built interest. I loved Severance when it came out. That's my preview of the review. I don't remember anything about it. I had to go back and rewatch the show. Rhea, is this a bum model? Is this stupid? Are they shooting themselves in the foot by having this much distance between seasons?
Well, listen, it's upsetting to the viewer. But I think and I don't know how they monetize streaming, but you're probably going to go back and watch Severance season 1, correct?
Sure. Yeah, that's a good point.
Because you've got to re-ingratiate yourself with the storyline. I mean, I'm assuming, didn't Curb Your Enthusiasm take off something like 6 years? Okay. Right. So they've got to build a model. It's what I love about Slow Horses. Slow Horses is kind of coming out like once a year. There's 2 new shows that are coming out, The Night Agent and The Recruit, that I think I watched during the pandemic, but they've been off. And I was like, all of a sudden I see, they're coming out with a new one. And I go, well, now I'm going to have to go back and watch season 1. So they're making money. Stranger Things has done, I saw this, I was looking at it. They literally, 9 years of airtime, they've done 5 seasons. In 9 years.
And I can't wait for the next season, but I literally can't wait. Angelo, should we go back to the old model? What's going on here?
You waited too long. What they've done, whether they realize it or not, is put more pressure on themselves. When you have almost 3 years, you better come back with something fantastic. People's expectations will be that much higher. Personally, I did not like the show when it first came out, so I don't care if they take 20 years between. And the other thing I need to say is that the main character, the main actor is Adam Scott, who was in Parks and Recreation, which I just finished binging. The only character I did not like in Parks and Recreation was played by Adam Scott.
Wow.
I don't get him. I don't think he's interesting. I don't think he's funny. I don't understand. So
Really?
I'm not an Adam Scott guy, and I'm damn not a good Severance guy. So good riddance. I hope they take 5 years. Who cares? It's a
Adam
stupid
Scott.
show anyway.
Adam Scott kind of looks like if you tried to draw Paul Rudd from memory, that's you'd wind up with Adam Scott. Like not quite there.
It's good.
Uh,
It's the insult to Paul Rudd.
yeah, Paul Rudd, good looking
Good,
guy. Adam
Jay.
Scott, not as much. Yeah, I just think about like a show like Severance, which has so many different like Easter eggs and like plot. I think about shows like Lost or even later on Westworld, the amount of discussion that was around it week to week, and then like what's going to happen next season, where are they going with it? You lose all of that when you take 2 years and 8 months. Nobody talks about it at the water cooler because everybody's watching something different. Release it week to week and do it consistently. I miss the old model. As much as I'm a cord cutter, I want to go back to 1987 and stay there. Uh,
Yeah.
all right, Angelo, have you seen the ads for Better Man, the Robbie Williams biopic that it
Yeah.
came out this weekend? It,
Right.
if you haven't seen it, if you're listening, it's a Robbie Williams musical, biopic about his life, where they instead of Robbie Williams or an actor playing Robbie Williams, they have a CGI monkey playing Robbie Williams. And the cost of doing a full-blown CGI monkey made the movie cost $110 million. Now, I did some research on this, and I got to share this research because I find this mind-blowing. There have been thousands of musical biopics in history. The most successful one was Bohemian Rhapsody. It made
Yep.
$1 billion worldwide. I can't figure out why. I don't know why it made $1 billion, but it did. The next closest is 200 million.
Wow.
Right? So unless no one knows who Robbie Williams is.
No, they don't.
How did and I just last thing, and then I'll get your thoughts on this, Angelo. It came out at the U.S. box office last week. It made $1 million over the weekend. It is not just a flop.
$1 million.
Yeah, they needed $1 billion. They got $1 million. And what? How did this happen? What happened here?
I'm going to tie all this together. All right. So they're down 109 million right now, right? Which is still less than Tom Brady's going to get to do 1 year on Fox. Just so you know how outrageous this is. All right. Here's the thing. What I like to do in something like this, Jay, in order to get a movie made, you got to go to the money people and make a pitch to them. So the money people come in, they're there, and then the producer comes in, he goes, here's the concept. Robbie Williams. You ever hear of him? No, but keep going. We're going to do a biopic on him, but instead of him, we're going to do it with a CGI monkey. You on board? On board. Here's 110 million. Let's do it. It's stupid. Here's the other part, though. I don't know if it got good reviews, but I'll bet it did because it's different. Right. Anything that's it's so creative. No one wants to see it. You understand? If you're going to do a biopic about a musician, it better be Elton John or it better be Queen or it better be somebody who's so big, Michael Jackson. Yeah. So people go, oh, wow, yeah, that guy was phenomenal for 40 years. This is absurd. It's so amazing when garbage gets made like this. It's incredible. And I saw the trailer. It's a stink bomb. Oh, the thing, you know it's bad before you wouldn't even go after you saw the trailer.
Rhea, you were there night one, right? Opening night.
God, yes. Why? Because it's British. Angelo, yeah. I hate to break it to you, but I always like to go on and check Rotten Tomatoes. And it wasn't just critics who gave it good reviews. People who saw it gave it good reviews. Well, you're right. But I just want to know, like, how high was everybody involved when they pitched this? But Jay, here's what I want you to do. I want you to when you throw out that there's that button that people can click on to send us something during the show.
Yeah.
How many have heard of Robbie Williams?
Right.
This is the problem. Now, it didn't even do well in England where, he was part of one of the biggest boy bands of all time in the 90s. Right. It didn't do well in England, okay? But it did, and he had a reason why. Do you want to know, Ange, why it was a CGI monkey?
Why?
because Robbie Williams does not believe he's evolved.
Wow. Wow. That's so creative, so different. Yeah.
You know, it's great now. The
Yeah.
monkey that plays him is actually more famous.
Yes.
Well, it's there's when I meet people, like especially like my daughters or my son's friends, and they go, "What do you?" They find out I'm a comedian. They go, "Oh, you're a comedian. Are you famous?" To which I always reply, "If you're asking, I'm not."
No.
Right. So if you open the trailer to the musical with "I'm Robbie Williams and I'm one of the biggest pop stars in the world," if you have to put "I'm one of the biggest pop stars in the world," you're not Robbie Williams. I'm sorry. Michael Jackson was called the king of pop because he was. He doesn't have to go, "I'm Michael Jackson. You may have heard of some of my songs." Literally everybody has. So
Can I just say one thing really quick?
Yeah, sure.
Jay, if we got all of our kids together, that the three of us, our kids would be like, our parents have the weirdest, not normal jobs ever.
100%. Yeah. It's honestly, we have jobs that when people say, "What do you do?" and you tell them, then they go, "Yeah, but what do you do for money?"
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you one thing we do for money, willingly and pleasingly, because of how great he is our great sponsor, Steven Singer. Angelo, you're still vibrantly coming through with your Wi-Fi, thank goodness, because this is the most important part of the podcast. Tell us about Steven Singer.
Rhea brought it up last week. We're getting close to the next big moment for guys and women, but especially guys, Valentine's Day. And a long, long time ago, Steven Singer decided to try something different. He knows people give you flowers. So he goes out and he gets an actual rose, beautiful rose, and dips it in gold. And it's a gold dip rose. And the first color was gold. And it was a huge success. We promoted it tremendously on our show. It became a huge hit. And every year he's come up with other colors. It's the last I looked, it was still $59, even if it's $79 or $60 or whatever it is now. It's worth it times 10, because not only do you get a gift that she's going to love, you get something that doesn't require you any thought whatsoever. Every year you just go, "I'll get another rose. I'll put it in the bouquet." She'll go, "Wow, what a romantic person." It's great. It's affordable. It's so easy to get. You can order it at IHateStevenSinger.com. I wouldn't wait, because eventually some of the colors, it's hard to keep the supply going. It's just another example of his brilliance and his creativity. Steven Singer Jewelers.
100%. It was always one of my favorite gifts that I got every year. I know Gail has like a dozen of them, and the colors are beautiful. And like Angelo said, the best part about it, like, because Valentine's Day comes so close after Christmas, people are like, "All right, I spent a lot of money at Christmas, might not have a lot of Valentine's Day." This is a beautiful, like, it's not a piece of jewelry, but it's gold. It's gold dip rose, and it's not going to break the bank, and your partner will absolutely love it.
My wife's birthday is in January, so I have Christmas, birthday, Valentine's Day. I call it Dead Man's Curve as we come around the calendar. That's why I'm glad we have Steven Singer there to make it helpful for you. Go to IHateStevenSinger.com. You can click on the link right in the podcast app that you're in. Just hit it, and you can buy a present. Get it out of the way. You don't want to be on the 14th going, "What do I do?" All right, so Rhea, we had talked earlier about your British discussion this week, and you were unable to watch it. And I want you to go into, if you don't mind, your story about this and why, because I find it very intriguing as to your history here. So
Angelo sent me a text. I don't know if it was on Thursday or Friday night, and he said, "Hey, I'm watching a great show called Lockerbie, and it's British. It's right up your alley." And I'm like sitting to myself, Lockerbie. I'm like, "Okay, yeah, I'll go check it out." It's on Peacock, which I didn't have, so I had to sign up for Peacock. And it comes on, and all of a sudden I go, "Oh my God." Like, I didn't realize it was Lockerbie, the plane that exploded over very small town in Scotland. And I have like a very, kind of not close connection to it, but that happened literally maybe 10 to 12 days before I moved to London as part of the Temple London program. And I remember my mom my mom was like literally offering me and I knew about the crash, but I was a late teenager at the time. And you're like, yeah, 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 mom, I'm about to go off on this great adventure that was one of the reasons I went to Temple. And she was distraught, literally, like until I got, and so I just always thought my mom was ridiculous. Her, because my mother is not my Angelo's met my mother. My mother is a very stoic person. And so I started to watch Lockerbie, and I just realized like the impact of it. It's the investigation into the terrorist attack on a plane that was leaving. I believe it was leaving Heathrow, and it exploded over Scotland. Angela, what I didn't realize was that people died in that little town. I didn't realize any of that. And Jay, I got through about 40 minutes of it, and I just like I literally called my mom to apologize, like for being
Wow.
a stupid teenager, because like I was so distraught by the end and it's not that the acting was not great. Colin Firth is amazing, but like it hit me in an emotional way because I have one now. Jay, you have one.
Yeah.
We're stupid, like just non-thoughtful teenagers, and you don't realize about being a parent. And it was just really hard for me to watch because I didn't realize what my mother was going through. Like, not because I believe I haven't double checked the notes, but I believe we lost somebody from the Temple London program on that flight.
Wow.
And so and Angelo saw it. I know you liked it, Ange. It was just, I just realized like what an idiot of a kid I was to my mother.
And
Well,
it's oh,
let me
sorry.
just say it is great. And that first episode that Rhea's describing is so graphic and vivid.
Yeah.
What happens at the moment of explosion. And Colin Firth, I know he got an Oscar for The King's Speech. He's never been better than he was
Yep.
in Lockerbie. It's on Peacock, like Rhea said. And it is the story of that explosion and the obsession of a father of one of the people, Flora Swire, who died in the explosion. And there's this vivid moment just before she's getting on the plane where her dad, Colin Firth, says to him, "Go out and have the time of your life."
Yep.
And I'm thinking to myself, he means the time of your death. She's about
Yeah.
to die. And it
Yeah.
was this unbelievable. And then it's like so it's 5 episodes. The next 4 episodes are basically his absolute obsession with getting to the truth of what really happened, who was responsible. And it's brilliant. It's just, I can't tell you how great it is. It's only 5 episodes because I guess the English had something to do with it. They know how to keep
Yeah,
it contained. And it lands the ending as well as you can for a story like that. It's great. And Rhea, I can't help it. More and more, I'm just running across British actors and British stories because they seem to be doing well right now.
They have good writers. They keep it short. I'm going to
Yep.
review next week Black Doves. I started watching it, 6 episodes with Keira Knightley. I will say this, I'm on episode 3. It's phenomenal. I really like it, but they keep it short. The writing is really good. The actors, they had the same actors who were
Right.
in all of them. I saw a couple actors in Lockerbie. I'm like, oh, yep, seen them in other stuff before. So
Yeah.
they're professional actors, and so it's done a little bit better.
So
Great.
I'd like to raise this topic because I want to go into this on the show. If we have a little fan mail button, click on it and tell us, has there ever been a show, and we'll go through these next week, that you had to stop because it was too close to home? Where you started it, you hear it's a good show, you check it out, and you just go, you know what? No, this is it either because it takes place where a place that you've been, or it involves an event that you've been with. My wife went through cancer in her 20s, and for about 10 years, anything involving cancer, if there was a cancer storyline, she's like,
That,
I'm out. I don't
no.
need to see this. Doesn't matter how good it is. It's just too much. So I want to hear from you. Click on it and tell us, and we'll go through it. Rhea, did you have a team for us this week?
I did that. Clark is in his third straight week of mock trial. He's on the mock trial team at Roman. And literally, this kid is going 7 days a week because they're all day Saturday, all day Sunday. I was there all day Saturday. I got out Sunday because the Eagles, and then the Eagles won. so I don't have to stay there all day Sunday at Penn. But he's like he'll be done for a couple of weeks. He'll get a break and then he'll go back. But right now he's just studying for mock
Great.
trial. He's doing great.
Well, that's fantastic. And I will say
By the
this.
way, they did watch the entire mock trial team watched My Cousin Vinny, and they just thought it was. And that movie's what 30 years old.
Yeah.
Because their mock trial is studying to be a lawyer. He thought it was phenomenal. Absolutely loved it.
It's great. And Marissa Tomei is holds a special place in all of our hearts when she's, there was just phenomenal. Yeah. And by the way, Rhea, when you're talking about being scared for your kids, the thing that I watched most this week was Life 360, watching my son drive on the app to make sure that he was going the right speed and where he said he was going. Angelo, was your pick Lockerbie? Was that what you were going to do?
I got something else, but okay. I just got to say, Marissa Tomei. Yeah, Vinny, you bland.
Fine.
Yeah, I just want to reiterate again, Rhea. Rhea's been giving me a lot to do these days. Mr. Bates versus the post office. Oh my God, is that great? I am paying for it. That is how great it is. I got the first one.
He called me to complain that he had to wait a week, and I said, "Edge, it's $2.99. Okay, just do it."
Well, I got a deal. I got 4 for $7.99, so I got a little bit of a deal. So I did. It's phenomenal. You got to watch it. It's great. It's frustrating. You want to strangle people, but it's great. And my other one, this is going to blow your brains because we had this guy on a show years ago, and he blew our minds, and he did it again after he died. And the name of the show is on Netflix. It's a documentary, and it's called Jerry Springer, Flights, Camera, Action.
Wow.
And I'm telling you, it shows you the evolution of probably the most disgusting show in history. It lasted 26 years, the Jerry Springer show. The first few years, it shows you what it was like originally. It was horrible. It was boring. It was terrible.
Was it like a Donahue makeoff, Angelo? Was it like a Donahue type show?
It was, yeah, but duller. Right. Jerry Springer was a former mayor of Cincinnati who was boring. The whole thing was boring. They brought in a new producer, Richard Dominic, and this guy was, the confrontation. And they convinced Jerry to try it. And it became a phenomenon. It beat Oprah for a while.
Yeah.
It's an amazing documentary. It's only 3 episodes, so it's not overdone, and it's fantastic. And I'll tell you right now, Netflix is the king of documentaries. They're way better than HBO, which used 100%. To be the king. And this is another example of great work. Jerry Springer, Flights, Camera, Action.
Angela, does it cover the fact that Jerry Springer once paid a prostitute with a check?
Yes.
Okay. Because
I'll tell you what it covers. There's a murder that happened because of what happened on the show. And they show you what happened on the show, and then they take you behind the scenes to how it happened. And it's I think today that would have ended the show, but it didn't end the show. They got past it.
Yeah. It just shows you.
Angelo, they got past it.
Yeah. It's just, hey, it's one murder. It's not like 5, guys. Come on.
And by the way, Jerry Springer, when we met him, Rhea, was he the nicest guy you ever met in your life?
Absolute gentleman. Like I was expecting this complete lunatic, and we got somebody who was low-key, witty, funny, and an absolute nice person.
Totally true.
So I'll just finish up with a quick review of Severance. It's coming back on Friday, season 2. I have not seen season 2 except for a few clips that they dropped online. Season 1, to me, is a throwback to the shows that came in the wake of Lost. If you remember, Lost came out, so then a whole bunch of mystery box puzzle shows came out where the whole idea was you're going to watch every week and you're going to pick up on all the clues and you're going to talk about it. And Severance is a throwback to that. There is a central mystery. There is a world that sort of they built out around this world. It involves a world in which you have your brain can be severed. Your memories can be severed. So you go to work, you have no memory of working. And your inner world, your working self, has no memory of what you are outside of work. So it actually makes a lot of sense. If you can imagine going to work and never having to know that you went to work, You just like you go down in the elevator and then instantaneously you come back up. Sounds pretty good, but the world in which they create this is so out of whack and there's so much dark mystery to it. It hooks you. If you're somebody that gets hooked on science fiction and trying to figure out what it's about, it's well worth your time. And if you've been avoiding it for the last 2 years and 8 months, well, now's your chance to rewatch it.
Yeah.
There's only 9 episodes in anticipation of the second season, which I'm sure will end on a huge cliffhanger and we'll get a resolution sometime in 2135. So, good show. Adam Scott, directed by Ben Stiller. So it's a lot of fun. All right, what did we talk about this week, Angelo?
All right, just one thing, Rhea. While I'm doing this, could you find out where your son watched My Cousin Vinny? Because that is a
Yes,
good
yes, yes,
recommendation.
yes. Yep,
And there's, we got to give him some good stuff to watch. Severance does start up again this week. It's on Apple Plus. Better Man is available in theaters, but not for much longer because it stinks. But you can see it in theaters right now. If you want to see Mr. Bates versus the Post Office, which is great, go to PBS. That's Rhea's recommendation. Lockerbie is also fantastic. That's on Peacock. And Jerry Springer Fights Camera Action is on Netflix. And My Cousin Vinny, where can you see that one, Rhea?
YouTube, Sling, Amazon, YouTube, Google, and Fandango.
Beautiful.
Everywhere.
Great.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us. If you can, go to angelocatali.com or amazon.com or audible.com and get Angelo Cataldi's book, Loud, more popular and better known than Robbie Williams in this country. I hope they do
By the way, Jay, I did this on a podcast. I don't want to repeat myself. I pretended I was reading my book when I was on because it works so great for AJ Brown on Sunday. He's reading this boring book, right? On the sideline. It's number one all across in Amazon. I tried it myself. It did not have the same effect. So you know. But check it out. It's Loud. It's on Amazon.
It's well worth your time. I hope they turn it into a $130 million biopic with a digital, whatever you want, Angelo. You can have a golden doodle if you'd like, playing you. Also check out our sponsor, Steven Singer. You go to IHateStevenSinger.com. All of this is right in the podcast description. Just scroll down, hit the button, send us a fan mail. Tell us if you've ever had a show that you had to cut out on because it was too close to home. And please continue supporting the podcast. Tell as many people as you can about us. We appreciate you. We'll see you next week. See you later, everybody.